Good morning guys, and welcome to Bletchley's infamous nature reserve, otherwise known as the Blue Lagoon. Just going to go for a gentle walk around. It's a bit brisk today. I would have preferred it, to be honest with you, if it would have been snow, which has been around in a plethora, should we say, all over the UK, but we've just had soggy conditions, a bit of rain. It's about a degree or two above freezing at the moment. The ground is hard underfoot. The place is going to be boggy, that's for sure. I'm glad I got my wellies on. But yeah, I thought I'll go for a walk around here, show you guys what's on my doorstep, because there's not a heck of a lot else going on. And let's go and do this. For years, the area adjacent to my right was known as an old, derelict, disused curve called the Worcester Curve, part of the old rail lines. But in recent times, there's been a heck of a lot of engineering works, and we are soon, probably on the cusp, perhaps this year, maybe next, we'll have a reopening of an old line which goes from Bletchley to Oxford, and that will mean, sorry, I'm a bit out of breath, that's a bit of a hill for me. That will mean we'll be able to go to Bicester Village from here, which is like a Simon's retail outlet, very similar to your outlets in Orlando, Florida. I'm guessing this is the point of which we find out whether we have holes in our wellies. So good so far. But yep, that is your new line. I've been working on it for a few years. Nothing to do with your HS2 or anything like that. This is totally separate, and it will take you out, as I said, to Bicester before going on to Oxford. But prior to that, we'll stop in an area called Winslow, also part of Buckinghamshire. This area here is where a good old friend mentioned it many times before, in this thicket area, AP, he had his camp. Too boggy to go up there today. Probably will do when his springtime comes, to be honest with you, to pay homage to him. But he dug it out over a succession of months, made canopies. He used to do like the survival videos, come down here with a load of tarp, make his own version of a homemade tent, a little stove, cook away something, make himself a hot brew, and just showing you guys how to survive kind of in the wilderness. Although this isn't truly a wilderness as you would call it. We don't have wildlife such as bears, wolves, mountain lions, etc. Here, the most you're going to find is perhaps a badger, a fox, your squirrels, your birds in the water, and the odd deer or two. I can hear a common woodpecker in the distance, pecking away at the old trees. This area on a whole, site is 120 acres, and the lagoon itself, which I will show you, that flooded post-war. I think it was about 1947, so that make it 78 years ago. It was part of London Brick eventually. Years ago in Milton Keynes we had these brick kilns. That's why there's a place called Kiln Farm. kilns along the side of the canal in that area as well. That's how they used to make the bricks for the houses. Then it just become too small to be able to produce what they wanted, so Fletton's pit and the Blue Lagoon here was formed. You'll see from the thumbnail that the aura this place gives off is certainly creepy, and that goes back to when I was a child. Obviously I've lived in this area now for, well, February I would be 54, so 54 years. But growing up as a youngster, we used to come along here, a bunch of friends, hang around. There used to be jetty areas and like steps going up into the wood area. And one day, sort of spring, summertime, a lot of foliage about, we was here, bit dark in the area, and this big black, I could only turn around and describe him as being an Alsatian German Shepherd, come barging through the trees and scampering towards us. His owner, the person who was walking in, was quite a distance off. He was barking and going at it. Didn't harm us at all, but at the time American Werewolf in London had come out, and that film basically gave me the willies, still does to this day. Freaked the absolute life out of me. And it's that plus the way that people perceive things is sort of like fight or flight. It's, I guess, in our nature to, you hear something, you see something that doesn't quite look right, and you scamper away. Wow, that tree is awesome. It's yet very creepy. Yeah, I'm kind of guessing just over your lifetime you have it inbuilt within you, a subliminal fear of such things, such places. It's how we are created and continue to thrive and survive. I don't for one moment think that there are such creatures lurking about, but who knows? There is no evidence to the contrary to say otherwise. That is your lagoon, as I was saying. It is seriously boggy around here, guys. But you kind of get it. I'm here by myself. If you had a couple of youngsters about and they see me approaching, I dare say that would freak the life out of them. To kind of put it another way in the context, it's the same feeling that many of you have. I was watching my favourite movie of all time. A little over 48 hours ago, it was on ITV for 10 o'clock at night. That, of course, the 1975 classic Jaws. Now, how many of you now go into a swimming pool or an outdoor swim, perhaps not hear the music, but always look about you in the water, knowing there's nothing there, but subconsciously it gets to you? It's the same sort of thing, the same as other people don't like the underground stations because of the American Werewolf in London film. Now, of course, this wooded area has been here forever and a day, basically. That would have been an old pit. I think they hit an underlying natural spring and it flooded, or they done it deliberately because they was finished with it. But this wooded area around here is led to believe, or it's, should we say, one of a couple of possibilities, that Bletchley is synonymous with Bletchley Park Alan Turing, the Enigma machine, which consequently enough, I always thought the Enigma machine was the be all and end all, but it's not. It's the machines that they created, such as Colossus, which broke the code within the Enigma machines, which was the purpose of Bletchley Park. Now, as I mentioned, Alan Turing, he, believing at the time if things went wrong, believed that he had to hide some of his worldly belongings. Now, somewhere within here, lost over the odd 75 to 80 years of time, there are two silver, what do you call them, ingots, like little silver bars, I suppose, reportedly to be worth somewhere in a region of 68 to 70,000 pounds in today's money, just laying beneath the surface somewhere, hidden out of public sight. Oh, this is going to be fun, isn't it? Yeah, not pleasant at all, guys. And that'll probably be treacherous as well. As long as this doesn't get any deeper, I'm fine. Look at them tracks. That is a seriously big dog. The tracks themselves remind me of something I do have to film. Something that my dad turned around and said that he see back in the mid-80s. We would frequent Brick Hill Woods, go chestnut picking in that general area, and he always turned around and said that he come face to face with the beast of Milton Keynes. Now, he can't ever verify that because he's no longer with us, but he certainly told me the story. I have done it before, years and years ago, but it might be time soon perhaps to go and revisit the location and sort of bring together my findings on it and what I actually believe happened. Not quite, but almost like an old mangrove swamp that you'd find in Florida. The weather conditions out there currently would be a lot different to what they are here. This is the lagoon itself. Over there where you can see the swans flapping about, and something just jumped out of the water, and I don't know what that was. There used to be a jetty going out to about where the swans are now, and used to run off the end of that and jump in. Obviously not during this time of year. You do get people doing the old open water swims and they stay close to the edges. They wouldn't want to come out to about here in the middle. The depths are somewhere in the region of 60 feet, so I'm led to believe. You've got your usual aquatic fishy creatures in there. I believe it probably carp, perch, etc. There are pike in there, and it has crayfish the size of probably a household brick. As you go further down, you do get them frequenting this little area here as the sun goes down, and they're easy to catch. You just get a net behind them, startle them, and for some reason, like a cuttlefish, they jump backwards and land conveniently in your net. But yeah, within that depths, I believe it was placed more than accidents, etc. There's a crane at the bottom that probably comes from the time when the pit flooded. There is a train carriage in there, a light aircraft, several vehicles, the likes of your vans and cars, motorcycles. And this was once a training area for the police diving team, with the old police station at Bletchley being just over the brow of where that woodland area is over there. I said it was cold out. This is basically where the sun is not getting to. It's just a deep permafrost. And the temperature's certainly dropped. You can see your own breath now. I'm sort of at the back end of the lagoon, the area right in the back, Fletton's Pit. Now, growing up, we would go through the Blue Lagoon, clamber over the side of an open fence and make our way down into the old quarry area, which had been abandoned at that point for about, I guess, 10 years. One side of it, they still had the chimneys, the brickworks, but you had this open quarry pit area with this conveyor crane machine type thing. I don't know what it was, obviously for carrying, I guess, your rocks, etc. And it was very reminiscent of Tatooine from Star Wars or scenes from Blake 7, and it was great just playing around in there. But now it's just a landfill site, but not a landfill site for those of us from Milton Keynes. All the rubbish that comes here comes up from London, so we're like their dumping ground. Oh, lovely, a perfect horror movie jetty. You can imagine some sort of creature attacking you from either side of this. I will go across very gingerly. I don't know how safe this is. It looks as if it's been fire attacked and it's rotten. It's creaking underfoot, but that could be the frost and the ice as much as anything else. I'm either extremely brave or incredibly stupid. I know a lot of you will probably say the latter. Bit gnarly, but we survived it. Well, that's certainly seen better days. Someone's obviously brought that down here and torched it. Someone's old electric scooter. Unless it's another one of these lithium battery incidents, but knowing the area, more than likely kids. That's it, Rob, you go through the creepy, I guess it's a cornfield. Right, that must be there. That's where they dumped it. Wow, here you go, guys. Just the other side of the pond there, looking straight at us. Must have startled him, because he's frozen, or she's frozen. I said about wildlife, we have ourselves a deer. Go on, you head off. I'm not going to cause you no harm. I've always known they're about, and I always get that sixth sense. I don't want it to be frozen in fear, so if I walk, maybe it will go in a different direction. Either that or it's just not phased or bothered. One of the two. Beautiful looking thing though. Wow. It's not phased one bit. It sort of kind of adds something to the video. I shall leave you in peace. I don't want to cause you any harm. Guess that's a monkjack. Good focusing on the camera though. Off you go, little fella, be safe. This area now, this side of the lagoon, It's all part of the same thing. Got a car parking area at the back here, but it's more of a picnicky area, which is quite handy for those who live on the Lakes Estate Bletchley or Newton Lees, because this is bang smack in the middle of the pair of them. But prior to all this being here, we used to race our dirt bikes around here, and the local lads would come down here with C90s and try and take us on. Some good times, some good fun. I suppose must have gone on from the late 70s until the mid 80s, because we were pretty much left alone, because at that time you had the miners' strike going on further up in the north of England, and any police that would turn around and come along and tell you to move on were otherwise pretty much disposed of. So we had the lay of the land, should we say, throughout Milton Keynes. So not only here, Winter Hill, Oldbrook, Ruxley, all these areas where you had dirt bike tracks, motocross circuits made up, we were the ones that built them, and they were good times. Of course, this area does have an element of sadness to it. Don't really want to go too much into the story because it would upset those involved, but a neighbour who lived across from us, he done something terrifying to his children. Well, one specific child, which would have led to incarceration, criminal conviction, etc. But instead of that, he come down here, put a pipe from his engine, from his exhaust pipe, into the car and killed himself. And I think apart from him, there may be one or two other people over the period, the time, many decades, that have maybe succumbed to cold water shock while swimming. Here we go, another one of those treacherous jetties. As I said, kind of horror movie stuff, but there's no way on earth I'm going to attempt this one. The other one you could just about make it across. There's a gap here or there, but that's simply too far. You'd end up in a drink, and by the looks of it, someone's had a drink. Wow. Would not surprise me if over the decades there will be a body found in this area. It's one of these likely places. Many of you might ask, so why is this place so sinister, cursed, etc.? Probably the curseness comes with the deaths of people, but there was a particular person, renowned in the early 80s, that would frequent this area in the wee hours, sort of made his way around here, would camp here and cause no end of trouble and fear, especially for women in this area and that area of Leighton Buzzard and towards Luton. And he, of course, I don't know his name, but his nickname that the police gave him was the Fox. He was, at that time they seemed to give names to pretty much everyone, but he was a serial rapist, and he attacked many women in the area in their own homes. Quite shocking and sickening, to be honest with you. He was caught, he is incarcerated. I don't think he'll ever come out, but he used to use the train line. You've been hearing trains while I've been out talking around here. There's a train line that runs along the back. You hear a train now. Well, that train would have come from London Euston, through Watford Junction, the various stops on its way up to here, and then we'll stop here at Bletchley, which Bletchley Park is opposite Bletchley train station for those of you who are interested. Then it will carry on to Wolverton after Milton Keynes, up into Northamptonshire, up into Rugby, then on to Coventry, then on to Birmingham. Like that said, perpetrator, the fox, used them train lines in the early hours to get from one place to another. Beautiful colour on the little robin there. Hi little fella. Just want to show you something where a few coins. I've just tried it. Listen to this when this penny lands on the water or the ice. I've got one more, so I'll do it again. Eventually that ice will melt under the sun's rays and they will fall to the bottom. Give you an overall of where we've been. We've come in through a tunnel area at the back there, walked around the lagoon at the top there, come back round and then come round this area here. It's pretty cool. Well guys, with the sun in my eyes and pretty much going down soon, I've said so much yet said very little at all. I hope you've kind of enjoyed it, if that's the wording I'd use for this. It just sort of keeps the channel ticking over until the world starts to open up again this year. Winter's sort of a time when it's difficult to go out and find things actually open. Of course the zoo is, but you don't want to be up the zoo every day of the week, although I wouldn't mind it. And I'm waiting for news on the 3 lion cubs that were born just shy of Christmas. So when they're available for the public, we shall certainly do an update there and walk around and say hello to our animal friends. Apart from that, it's Milton Keynes Museum, Bletchley Park, and walks around Bletchley and Milton Keynes itself, just to keep myself ticking over. It's unpredictable with travel going up towards the likes of London at the moment. You get a bit of snow, a few leaves on the track, puts a certain barrier in the way of you doing them things, but they will be back at some point. And with that guys, thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, certainly give it a thumbs up. I'll see you in the movies. Bye for now.